It's third round weekend, one of the most eagerly anticipated occasions in the football calendar. The big stars enter the competition ready to flex their muscles in pursuit of silverware, while for the rest, there's a golden chance to have your name in lights.
And they have the lead! A shot is on here at Ashley Park! Real quality from the Premier League team.
Welcome to the Emirates FA Cup preview show. Coming up, back on familiar ground, can one of Wigan's Cup winners mastermind another famous day?
We will have to have players produce moments of brilliance, whether that's an attacking player, we'll need our goalkeeper. It's an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to it.
Local pride at stake in the first FA Cup Tyne and Wear derby for almost 70 years.
No one talks about Hope's play fantastic. It's just got to beat them. Just got to beat them.
Maidstone, the lowest ranked side left, aim to keep their cup dream alive.
Why can't we beat Stevenage? We've done it against Barrow, so why can't we go and beat them?
And in our Cup of Nations series, we'll look at some of the history makers who've originated from Asia and the Middle East.
Oh, what a fabulous hit by Son!
I remember things pretty vividly. We believed we could win, but we were also on the verge of relegation playing against an incredible Man City team, so it was just beyond our wildest dreams really at the start of that campaign to think we would win the FA Cup, and it was just utter joy.
Maloney takes, and it's in! It's Ben Watson for Wigan Athletic! They've surely won the FA Cup!
A decade on from the greatest day in Wigan's history, the club faced an all-time low. On the brink of liquidation last summer, a takeover by local businessman Mike Danson saved the day. Whilst on the pitch, the Latics turned to former player Sean Maloney to restore some stability.
When I came in the last couple of days in January, really excited, really happy to be back. And everything on the pitch was going pretty positive really up until, but it was really around about the March time when the payments to players and staff didn't happen. That's when the job became very, very different. I expected every day to come in and that to be my last really at the club. We owed so much money, millions and millions of pounds, and we didn't have it. But I have to say the new owner and the chairman have done amazing. Really supportive. My remit was to basically stay in the league, and they really allowed me to build a squad that I think gives us that chance. But there is big optimism around the club now. We've got real stability with the owner and the chairman, so it definitely feels like a good time.
In 2018, Maloney spent time learning his trade under former mentor Roberto Martinez, joining the Spaniards' coaching staff in the Belgian national team. That saw two key components of Wigan's 2013 Cup success reunited.
Kone for Maloney! Unmarked, unerring.
I remember the draw for that semi-final. It was two really big clubs, and we both avoided them, us and Millwall, so at that point both of us must have felt it was the perfect draw to try and get to the final. In that game against Millwall, we were the favourites. We had to try and play a certain way, and I remember the team playing very, very well. Millwall were a good side then, really aggressive, tried to man mark, and I remember they had a chance at 1-0 from a header, so and then our performance took over and we played pretty well and won the game comfortably. But yeah, it's amazing moments.
And Roberto Martinez leads them into their first FA Cup final.
The one thing I'd say about that final is that we did go in with a big belief that we could beat Man City. Tactically, Roberto was outstanding in those games. The environment he created was a huge part of why that day ended up transpiring to be one of the greatest days of the club's history. Yeah. It's probably since I've retired that I really understand the magnitude of it. Yeah, and I get pride from knowing that I was part of that team, and there was a lot of good people involved, and yeah.
Now, 10 years on, the League One side face the other Manchester giant as they welcome last season's beaten finalists to the DW Stadium.
I love Manchester United as a club, I love the history. I'm from Aberdeen, so the work that Sir Alex did in Aberdeen And then when he came to Man United and produced the club and the teams that he did, it's inspiring for any young Scottish coach. I see it as that this is a huge match. It's a trophy they want to win. So I don't think this is a game that they're going to take lightly. For us, it's a game that I see or prepare for the same as other games. I'll prepare to try and get our team to win the game. We will have to have players produce moments of brilliance, whether that's an attacking player. We'll need our goalkeeper. And then one thing that doesn't change is we will need every outfield 10 players to defend and to attack. So it's an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a big motivation that 10 years ago. I know what this club felt like when it was at or in an elite environment in terms of the Premier League. Feels a long way off at the moment, but it gives me a big motivation to try and gives ourselves a chance to get back there.
Here are some of the other ties to keep an eye on this weekend. Holders Manchester City kick off their bid to retain the trophy with a home game against Huddersfield of the Championship. 7 years on from the side's last cup meeting, a third-round replay, City won by 5-1. There's a heavyweight clash at the Emirates between Arsenal and Liverpool. It's only the 5th time they've been drawn together in over half a century. The Gunners winning 4 of those. Liverpool's sole success of the last 50 years coming in the 2001 final.
It's there! Michael Owen strikes again.
The blue half of Merseyside also face a trip to the capital as Everton go to Selhurst Park, 2 years after losing 4-0 in a quarter-final to Crystal Palace. And Tottenham face Burnley in a repeat of the 1962 final, having only lost one FA Cup tie at their new home against Norwich on penalties 3 years ago.
The North East is quite isolated. We're stuck out the way up here. The football clubs represent the source of pride that the people from Newcastle and Sunderland have in the area. I'm Martin Hardy, I'm the Northern Sports Correspondent of the Times newspaper. If you're born in the North East, everybody follows the result. That relentlessness is part of the culture of the North East. Bear in mind, you're talking Newcastle last won the FA Cup in 1955 and Sunderland in 1973. That's kind of what's being fed into you when you grow up. The problem is, it's stopped. Thus far, the teams have not matched the passions of the fans for a long time. If they do, which is the cliche that we return to, goodness knows how much success the clubs could have.
It's the be-all and end-all. People might say, no, you're going over the top, but it actually is. Lee Clark, former Newcastle and Sunderland midfield player. I remember in my playing days, young people, old people, male, female, would stop you everywhere and just want to talk football. And it's still the same now, about my days, about what's happening now. And the result of the football team means everything. The city bounces off the success of the football team. You can see that now in this era with the new ownership and the players, and you feel the happiness and the enthusiasm around the city is akin to what happened with us in the 90s.
There is the political element of Saudi Arabia's public investment taking over Newcastle 2 years ago. The outside of this region get a bit annoyed that the fans don't get too obsessed by it. And I do understand that from those Newcastle fans' perspective is it's been terrible for a long, long period, bar perhaps Keegan, a little bit of Bobby Robson, and this gives them a chance of going back to the top table.
Sunderland fans, they'll say they're not jealous, but of course they are. They would love to have been in the Premier League. They would love to have had a Champions League campaign, and there'll be a little bit of wish that was us.
Obviously we'd like to be where they are, but we wouldn't swap clubs for anything. I'd sooner be Sunderland here than Newcastle there. Paul Dobson, I'm the editor of the Sunderland fanzine Love Supreme. We've been going since 1989, when fanzines were just starting out with a photocopier in somebody's bedroom and a lot of handwritten stuff that was cockeyed. Can't remember not supporting them. Became aware of them when I was about 5 or 6, and then when they won promotion in 63, 64, then it was all right. Football club's big. Since we began, our average lifespan of a permanent manager is just under 18 months. The last 10 years has been like corny phrase, it's a revolving door. You know, people have come in with varying degrees of support from the fans from the off. Some have done okay. Most of them haven't, to be fair, otherwise we wouldn't be where we are now. Haven't been right the way down to our lowest ebb and on the way back, hopefully.
It was essentially got a League One. Even the fans kind of said for 12 months it was novel. Then interviewed some fans, some of Love Supreme, like, we are sick to death of playing football in League One. They are back on the rise. The top two places in the Championship seem out of place, but they have good players like Paddy Roberts and Jack Clark and Alice Pritchard, who mean that the game against Newcastle will be able to create chances.
It's probably the game where performance doesn't matter. It's about the end result. I love the derbies. Sometimes they're played at such frantic pace because the build-up's just so intense leading up to the match. And when we talk about going around the city, everyone's, you know, leading up to the game, it's like, don't lose, got to beat them. It's not, no one talks about hope you play fantastic, it's just got to beat them.
You feel it, you can feel the nerves, you just know so much rests on the game. Newcastle haven't won one for more than 10 years. Sunderland are on this historic run of 9 games without getting beaten by the rivals.
You look forward to them, you dread them in equal measure. I still get nervous about them at this stage in my life, and I shouldn't, but you do. Logic says Newcastle have spent millions of pounds, they're a division above us, we've spent out. That, you know, nobody in their right mind should put money on us to win, but you always trot out the old phrase, form book goes out the window in the FA Cup, third round, and in derby games. The
region is better for them. It can really showcase just how much tribal identity there is to the two clubs. The hype will be great, the atmosphere will be something else, and there is so much on the line for both teams now, because Newcastle need that result after exiting the Carabao Cup, the Champions League and effectively the Europa League. And Sunderland, that would just be, you know, manna from heaven for them to say you've got your Saudi money and you still can't beat us.
Still to come, we meet the Maidstone boss flying the flag for Africa.
Kids that don't have any hope, that come from those communities that I came from back in Africa, it's important to inspire them, so I dedicated that to them.
And in our quiz, we pick the match, but can our contestants pick out who played?
Very happy with that, because my memory's usually rubbish.
That's my generation though, huh?
As a player, the furthest I managed to get to the 5th round against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Then I was a young player, having just joined Colchester United in League One at the time. I was on the bench, never came on. However, on the day, the occasion, leading 1-0 against Chelsea in the first half comfortably, and then in the second half, they've blown us away by just bringing on the big guns at the time. We competed and gave a good account of ourselves, so this will be no different in terms of showcasing ourselves. You know, Maidstone United Football Club against a League opposition, a League One opposition in Stevenage.
George Elokobi enjoyed a long playing career, hitting a Premier League peak with Wolves. Now, as manager of National League Maidstone, he heads into a third-round tie with Stevenage, who they've met before.
The last time was in 2014, 2015, when we managed to beat a Stevenage side.
It's a good ball in from Greenhill! Maidstone erupts!
When I was young, I used to come watch the games when I could with my dad. I just remember the scenes after the full-time whistle and the pitch invasion. That's definitely up there with one of the best moments for the club for sure.
The 7th tier has beaten the 4th.
Maidstone are the lowest-ranked club left in the competition. They booked their place with a victory over League 2 Barrow, thanks in part to a screamer from local boy Bhivesh Gurung.
It was just one of them ones where as soon as it sort of left my boot, I kind of knew that it was going to cause the keeper some problems, and luckily it flew into the top corner.
I think you see the celebrations from everyone to face a Barrow team who's doing fairly well in the league. I think it's a great achievement.
Well done.
As the sole African manager in England's top 6 tiers, Elokobi is unique and recognises the need for hope and inspiration.
The town I grew in is called Kumba. That game, that win, was for everyone in that community, but more so for the community of Cameroon, Africa as a whole. It made headlines back in Cameroon in terms of us beating Barrow. You want to inspire as many people, kids that don't have any hope, that come from those communities that I came from back in Africa. It's important to inspire them, so I dedicated that to them.
I don't know if you've ever seen him on the sidelines in the warm-ups. His energy just brings on to all of us, because he goes to show a drill. How he does it is how he wants you to do it. So if he can do it, why can't we?
Got 30 seconds to recover and we're going again.
You know, he brings that enthusiasm, that energy, that desire, and as players you replicate that and run through brick walls for him.
Just how he goes about his life every day, even off the pitch as well, like professional, a role model as it is.
Well, I see them as people first before as footballers. If I can understand them as people, then we can help them as footballers.
Elokobi will, however, be without his hero of round 2 for the visit of Stevenage.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got sent off against Worthing in the league game a couple of weeks ago now, so I'll be ruled out of the Stevenage game.
You know, I already got my boots on. I'll be standing in the technical area, making sure I'm kicking every ball and heading every ball. It's not about me, it's about our group of players. They've earned this. It's about our supporters. They've earned this. And it's a great occasion for everyone involved, connected to Maidstone United Football Club. All the way back in Cameroon, in Africa, around the world, I'm sure we've gained some admirers, some new Maidstone United fans. So it's important that our players go out, our supporters, they enjoy this game and enjoy competing against a good opposition in Steve Evans and the Stevenage players.
Why can't we beat Stevenage? We've done it against Barrow, so why can't we go and beat them? We're all pulling in the right direction, train hard as we do, come in every day, work hard, and then just see what happens in the game.
We fancy ourselves, and we really believe that.
The games are streamed out there in Cameroon, so these people will be looking at it with close eye to see how a Maidstone team does against a League One opposition in Stevenage. And hopefully, you never know, with the magic of the FA Cup, we may go one over.
There are 3 other sides in the competition flying the flag for non-league football. National League Eastleigh's reward for a 2-1 victory over Reading is a trip to 4th-tier Newport County. Chesterfield, also of the National League, will travel to Championship Watford. It's the 3rd successive season that the Spyrites have reached the 3rd round. And Aldershot's incredible run continues. The Hampshire side hit Swindon for 7 in round 1 and then stunned League 2 leaders Stockport in a 2nd round replay.
Forced home by Ollie Scott. What a time to get your first goal for the club.
Their reward, an away tie with 5-time winners West Brom. No competition has had an impact on English football quite like the FA Cup. Its appeal has spread worldwide, and those who've made their mark in the competition have come from across the globe. Over the season, we'll analyse that heritage, and this week it's the FA Cup players from Asia and the Middle East. In 1998, Crystal Palace signed Chinese internationals Sun Jihai and Fan Zihe, the first players from China to play professionally in England, and it paved the way for others from the continent to follow. In 2013, Oman international Ali Al-Habsi made history, becoming the first player from the Arabian Gulf region to collect an FA Cup winners' medal.
It's Wigan Athletic's FA Cup, yes! Wigan Athletic!
The keeper was an unused substitute in the 2013 final, but played a crucial role in the Latic's success. An injury sustained after the semi-final win over Millwall cost him his place at Wembley, but didn't dampen the celebrations. In 2022, Takumi Minamino scored 3 crucial goals as Liverpool reached the FA Cup final for the first time in a decade.
Could be a chance for Minamino! His 2nd goal of the night.
What a guy, what a player, you know, every time he comes in he's ready and he delivers, and, you know, such a nice guy, you're delighted for him every time he scores.
Although he didn't feature in the final, he became the first player from Japan to win the FA Cup. The following season, the holders were knocked out of the competition by a rising star of Japanese football.
What a finish from Kaoru Mitoma! Absolutely brilliant from the Japanese. What a find he is!
Many great names of Asian football have competed in the FA Cup over the years, but one player has stood out.
Oh, what a fabulous hit by Son!
No one from the continent has scored more FA Cup goals than Heung-min Son, and in 2017 he won the Golden Ball as his 6 goals helped Spurs reach the semi-finals.
This is a great experience to play FA Cup. FA Cup we play against also League 2 or League 1. It's a really special day. It's just very nice to have this competition and experience.
The achievements of British-born Asians goes back even further. Frank Su was the first footballer of Asian heritage to play for England and scored his first ever goal in an FA Cup tie. After his passing in 1991, Su's accomplishments were recognised when a street in his native Stoke-on-Trent was named after him. Neil Etheridge of the Philippines and Pakistan's Zesh Rehman are amongst those who featured in the FA Cup and gone on to represent their countries.
For your whole life you work hard, not just as an individual but as a family. We made a lot of sacrifices and a lot of dedication, so it was a great honour.
And last year, Pakistan's vice-captain Otis Khan played a starring role as Grimsby of League 2 reached the quarter-finals.
This is a joyous run to remember for the years.
Finally, quiz time. Our guests have the team sheet from a classic match with a few notable omissions. This round, it's the 2001 final between Arsenal and Liverpool.
This one is going to be tough.
So, can you name the missing Arsenal players from their lineup?
Left back.
This could be...
So Ashley Cole must be a left back, is that correct?
Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole. Wow.
Lundberg.
The other player is
Lundberg.
Freddie Lundberg.
Freddie Ljungberg.
That's right, Freddie Lundberg. The Swede opened the scoring in the 72nd minute. Now, what about that final missing gunner?
The last one has to be...
This one is going to be tough.
Must be Henry, no?
Who's the other one? Henry.
Thierry Henry.
The King, Thierry Henry.
Well done, Lee. It was, of course, Thierry Henry. Now, can you name the 3 Englishmen missing from the winning side?
Midfield.
No, Gerrard, would he have been too young?
You're missing Gerrard.
Young Steven Gerrard.
Mr. Liverpool, Steven Gerrard.
Easy. It was, of course, the future Liverpool skipper in midfield.
Right.
And Heskey or Fowler.
Oh, this is a hard one.
Was it Emil Heskey?
Maybe Fowler?
Heskey.
Heskey.
Emil Heskey.
And the other striker,
Must be...
ex-teammate of mine,
Would it have been Owen?
Owen is definitely one.
Michael Owen.
Michael Owen.
Correct. Match winner Michael Owen is the last missing man. His 2 late goals secured the cup for Liverpool. Almost a full house all round. Everyone happy?
Great.
I wasn't quite sure about Heskey.
Very happy with that because my memory's usually rubbish.
That's my generation though, huh?
And it's getting worse, by the way.
So, 32 ties, including one rather tasty-looking local derby. It promises to be a memorable weekend. We'll see you next time.
It looks for goal! Oh, it's rifled it! Bay! Oh, he does, and he scores! Unbelievable from Gundogan.